All right. Hey, so great to be with you guys. Should be what I'm hoping, anticipating of being a great event today. But hold on, just got to double check one other thing. All right, we are good. Okay. All right. So as we move forward today, those of you who had the opportunity, I know that I did the morning meeting today. And I hope that you'll go back and listen to it. We talked a lot about just commitment and the importance of it, but I want to continue down this pathway in regards to commitment as you're moving forward. So here we are, November 30th. You've got about 20 work days left in the year. And those of you who haven't signed up, by the way, I hope that you will for our ESS thing that we're doing tomorrow. We've got an Elevate, and it's going to be for 2.5 hours. We've got I almost want to say a star-studded panel. We've got Aaron Mailer on our panel. We've got Dave Parker on our panel. John Syatt will be speaking. I will be speaking. And it's going to be a great event where we're going to really dial in and get into some meat and potatoes for about a 2.5 hour segment of just the things that are critical to succeed in today's market. And most importantly, to finish strong and of course, start strong. So let's make sure that's happening. All right, so let's get rolling here. So in relationship to this business, there are so many different angles and ways in which you can do this business. And one of the questions that I often am asking myself from this standpoint, actually, Mr. They're asking, yes, it should be, yes, it will be recorded. And then that recording always goes out, by the way, on them being asked about the Elevate. Will it be recorded? The answer is yes. And then it goes out to those who participated in a recording, usually just a few hours later. So if you sign up but can't attend the live event, if you want a recording of it, just sign up and then you'll get the live recording, and would love to have you be part of it. All right. So with that, I'm always asking the question, whenever I'm speaking, whenever I'm talking, whenever I have the opportunity to go and speak to other companies, to any of our other 9 companies, to you name it, this is the question that I'm asking. What do these individuals need? And I'm always reminded of Jim Rohn, the late Jim Rohn, who said these words. He said, when I was a young man, I used to get up and go up on a stage and I used to say, man, here I am, here I am. And he goes, as I matured and came to better understandings and better clarity of life and a deeper understanding of my own life, he said, I would point out and realize as I'd look out into that audience, he would say, there you are. And he realized that the importance and the focus of where he puts it, either on himself or on others, had a profound difference as to the way he spoke, the way he conveyed a message. So when I heard that, that was very impactful for me. And I think this is very important as we get into this coaching session today, as we think about the audience that we're speaking to. And so I'm always asking the question, what do the people need? What are the individuals in need of? What would be the best thing to speak on? What would be the best message to convey? And so look, sometimes I have people, and it's very interesting, I'll have people who will come to me and say, man, I know you're speaking right to me. And in fairness, I would tell you 99 out of 100 times, I'm not speaking directly to them. But because the message, I have to tell you, I believe is so heartfelt, and I hope that you always feel my sincerity and my authenticity to the message, that there should never be a time that you don't feel like I'm speaking to you. But I also want you to know that sometimes that what you're feeling, if I'm speaking right to you, I almost feel like maybe there's a little bit of divine intervention there. Maybe there's a different plan there. Maybe you were hearing something that you needed to hear, that you were ready to receive. You know, we had a meeting earlier today for ESS, and as we were speaking, we were talking about the need and the importance for having a real message that is timely, that is relevant, and that is needed. And that we're not just slapping things together and hoping that it, somehow impacts an individual or a human being. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to think about all the times that you get to speak. And you say, well, gosh, man, I'm not speaking in front of, 50 people, 100 people, thousands of people. That's not what I'm talking about. Think about all the times that you're speaking when it comes to a prospect, when it's an internet lead, for sale by owner, an expired, your sphere of influence. Think about the presentations that you're giving when you're sitting with a husband and wife, or maybe a divorce is going on, or maybe there's an investment or investor that you're working with, or a first-time home buyer, home seller. Every one of these moments are moments where you get the opportunity to present. And one of the challenges that I've seen in the industry of real estate is that we get so fixated on a script and a dialogue. And boy, it's important to know what to say, right? It's important to have verbiage and dialogue and content to the words that you say. But when we package our scripts and our dialogues and believe that it is a one size fits all, we're going to make mistakes. And the mistake we're going to make is in the depth of connection to the people that we're working with. So my challenge in today's message, my coaching message, is to coach you on the idea that when you're going into a presentation, or you're going into a call, or you're going into a moment where you're going to be able to give advice, counsel, sell something, sell your services, sell what you're doing, sell the concept of working together with a particular client, just remember that you're presenting. And I've had this statement that I have made for nearly over 2 decades. And I came to this conclusion early on in my career that life, and you may want to write this one down, life is nothing more and nothing less than a series of presentations. And I've often thought about that when I see my children, my kids, they're doing their thing and they're selling me on what they need next, and the next new this and the next thing that. Or when I say, hey, let's go eat here, they're like, no, I don't want to eat there. And they may not be giving an effective presentation, that's more complaining, but sometimes they win the battle and we choose somewhere else to go eat. But my point is that life is a series of presentations, right? It's nothing more, nothing less. That's really what it comes down to, is your ability to present. But if, as a great salesperson, which you are, and your desire to get better, and if you're listening here today, which is, it's great to have you here and interacting, and I hope that you'll, if there's any conclusions and ahas through today, that you'll interact on this. But you're presenting. That's what you're doing every day. I mean, those who are either married or with a partner or a spouse or a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a significant other, you've presented. You either presented really well or you presented not so well, right? Because it's really about presentation, right? If you're with the one that you want to be with, you presented yourself. So how you present yourself means a lot. Now, we can take the attitude of, well, I'm just going to be me out there in the world. Well, you can be, and you can go about life every moment like that. But I'm going to put a big but here. But you got to take a step back for a minute. What is the job of a great real estate agent? What is the job of a great salesperson? Well, the job of a great salesperson is to be what others need you to be for them. And so what's always been interesting to me is sometimes people will think, well, man, is that manipulative? No, it's not manipulation. Is it, are you being someone you shouldn't? No, you're not being someone you shouldn't. You're being who the other person needs you to be. Now, we could get into personality types, which we're not going to do today. We could get into, the driver mode. We could get into the amiable, or the analytical, or the expressive, and how those different dynamics work. But that's really what I am talking about, right? It's who are you being from a place of sincerity and authenticity and being real and authentic when you're talking to someone. The challenge that I find is there's a deep disconnection where we're turning and burning transactions at times, and our focus points become on how much can we earn, not much how much can we help or how much can we do to help another person. And that's not always the case. That may not be you, but I really want you to think about, how are you truly presenting? What is your presentation look like? What are the skill sets in regards to your presentation, buyers or sellers, or presenting to a potential prospect to just simply set an appointment? How effective is your presentation? How meaningful are the conversations? How meaningful would they say that it is when you show up? And those are the things that I think that are the difference makers. Because what's interesting is we can all take the same scripts and dialogues. Now think about that. You can take all the same scripts and dialogues, and yet people, individuals, get completely different answers. Think about that for a moment. Take all the same scripts and dialogues, but completely different answers. Why is that? What is it that's doing that? What is the difference that's happening when it comes to that? So it's all about the presentation. It's about how real you are, how authentic you are, how vulnerable you are. So I want to give today, I want to give you a few skill sets that I believe will be incredibly helpful in regards to presenting. And I've had the privilege and the opportunity to present to thousands of people over my career. Small groups, one-on-one, of course, small groups of 4 to 10 people, then 10 to 20, and then hundreds, and then I've had thousands that I've sat or stood in presentations and given. I've been there where I've stood in front of well over 1,000 people and had standing ovations as to the presentation that I've given. I've spoken to the youth, I've spoken to adults, spoken to the elderly, and there's some common themes and threads in regards to the way in which people present. And I'm hoping that today will be a day that you step back and go, okay, wait a second here. Maybe there's something more to the way in which I present. Maybe there's more in ways in which I could improve the way I connect to another human being. And that's what I want to talk about. All right. So, first and foremost, let's just talk about our mindset. So, first and number one, your mindset, how you go into a presentation, wherever it is. I alluded to this, I talked just a moment about it, but I want you to just put as number one. Number one, just simply asking the question. My mindset is, what do these individuals need? See, the shaping of my presentations in regards to real estate have always been based on what does this individual need? Not what is my script, not what is I'm going to say, but what is it that I'm really taking a step back and saying, okay, what does this individual need? That's the first thing. The second thing, especially when I'm in an interactive type of presentation where I'm able to converse back and forth a lot, like a sales presentation for a buyer or a particular seller, at that moment, what I'm really looking at is I'm trying to ask the question of being present in the moment of myself. So really demanding of myself my presence. So if you put a number two, it is my presence. It is my presence of mind. It is my ability to listen. It is my ability to really slow down for a moment. See, most people listen to just simply reply. They hear something and then I want to hear it so they can reply to it. Can you really say to yourself, do I listen to understand? Not listening to a reply, listening to understand. Do you truly understand the needs, the wants, the expectations of what another individual needs? So imagine that if you started with the first question, what does this or these individuals need? Number two, I demand of myself a commitment to being 100% present in the moment. Present, listening to understand, not listening to reply. Now, man, if you just did those two things at the beginning of any presentation before you started, I can just tell you the feeling, the energy, the heart and the soul of that presentation will be uniquely different than what it may have been in the past. So again, what is it that they may need? Getting really clear, not do what I want to share. What do they need? Number two, my presence, 100% there, listening, attentive, and most importantly, looking to understand before you're looking to reply. All right. So, first two things. Here's the third thing. I have always found myself, no matter what the presentation is over these many years, is that I found myself getting very, very anxious. And I found myself to where I would be burdened with I don't know what I'm going to say. Well, what if I don't say the right thing? And well, what if they don't like what I have to say? And of course, the focus was always on me way back in the day, and that always screwed things up. But I would get really concerned with really how I'm approaching the actual presentation, I would feel my nerves set in, the anxiety set in. What if I mess up? What if I don't say the right stuff? All that type of thing that went on. And I don't know if you can relate. I think you probably can, because there's presentations that even still today I get nervous with. There's presentations where I'm like a little butterflies in the stomach going, oh man, this is kind of a big point here. This is a big presentation. This can be kind of tough. And I can feel it kind of come on. Well, look, when that stuff is coming on, I've come up with, for me, some very simple statements, and I hope that they will work for you, or maybe you modify them. Maybe they give you an idea to maybe something you might try on for yourself. But try this one on. This is one of my favorites, and it really had a big impact, because I would get so concerned with what I was going to say, if it would make a difference, help someone, do what I want, have it be what I needed to be, or what if I didn't, say the right thing? And so I came up with this. Here it is. I have prepared my whole life for this moment. Now you may say, man, that seems a little weird. Like, what? You prepared your whole life for this moment? Yeah. Yeah, I prepared my whole life for that moment. So whatever the presentation is, no matter how much preparation I have done, or the lack of presentation or preparation that I think I have done, that at that moment, what's so crazy about it is I can take a step back and go, man, did I really prepare myself well enough? Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. So, and even when I prepared myself, I could still feel the anxiety and the scariness of the moment. And so I started realizing that part of being a great speaker, part of being a great presenter, is about coming from a place of absolute certainty. And so I needed to shift the story that I was telling myself. The story that I may be telling myself was maybe not times not a powerful one. Like, gosh, I don't know if I'm prepared. What if I screw up? What if I don't say the right thing? What if they don't like what I have to say? What if they don't like me? What if all those things? And people can say, oh, I don't care about any of that. Well, okay. Well, I do. I care that people are impacted by my message. I care that people feel the authenticity and the realness of what I have to share. I want them to know and to feel that I've thought through the things that I'm talking about, and that are not just something I've just grabbed from out in the middle of the air and hope that they'll make an impact, and maybe not. No, I want deep impact. I want to make a difference in the lives of people. That's my mantra. That's like in my soul. So as you're presenting, for me, what it did when I started to realize that I would say I've prepared my whole life for this moment, what it did for me is it brought me to a place of certainty, recognizing that, man, for my business, or my 49 years on this planet, or the 26 and a half years in this business, man, I've prepared every day to be able to speak at this very, very moment. And for some reason, I would just feel this great calm come over me. And here's the second thing that was really impactful. So one was the certainty, but number two was where I put my focus. My observation is that when people present in small groups, small gatherings, large groups, large audiences, doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. And it's this: when our focus, and I spoke just a smidgen about this a minute ago, but when our focus goes to outside of us, meaning that we focus on the people outside of us, what can we do to help that person? What can we do to make a difference to that person? What can we do to help the people within that audience? What can we do to help that buyer, help that seller? Like, you, hopefully you're following me, relate with this, right? But when I get to that point where I'm sitting here thinking, man, can I make a difference? I started asking myself a question that was better than, man, I hope they like what I have to say. Gosh, I don't know if they're going to ask me to reduce my commissions. Will they list at the right price? Will they? All that stuff caused great, great anxiety to me. And I remember years ago, this came also to me. If I imagined myself walking into a room, a home, and I found myself, it would be like I'm jumping in the room and I'm like, here I am. And this would be the statement I would say with my arms wide open: how can I help you? And so I would visualize myself, and sometimes even legitimately doing it when I was going up, my arms open like this. I'm open-hearted, I'm vulnerable, I'm willing to help. How can I help you? Those words changed the entire process of my presentation. Not, I'm going to help you and fix you and you're broken. No, that's not my approach. My approach isn't here I am and look how great I am. Let me show you all my accomplishments and how amazing I am. No, let me talk about me, and how amazing I am and all the deals I've done and all the stuff I've accomplished. And therefore, because I'm so great, you'll think I'm great and we'll work together. No, that's not great presentations. That's ego. And that doesn't serve you or the client well. So for me, what worked and has worked so well is just that simple statement. How can I help you? And in the tone of that within me and to the other person, then what's interesting is people feel that. They feel your sincerity to wanting to help, and they're willing to pay a commission to get that help. That's the beautiful thing about it. They're willing to pay you for your sincerity and your desire and your expression to help. So for me, saying I prepared my whole life for this moment. So set aside, you don't have anything to worry about. You got this. And then the other side of the coin is, I'm just simply here to help you. What can I do to help? And that's why, as time has gone on, that my presentations have been more about just simply asking questions than they've ever really turned into, let me tell you all the things I'm going to do to save you in the game of real estate. It's not necessary. It's not necessary for any of us. Because what's interesting is that once the moment that they figure out that you're there to help them, and you get into this pathway and this process of asking questions, which will be the next point we'll get to in a moment. But when you get into that point of being able to ask questions, game over, gang. You got it. Game over. You're going to be connected. They're going to feel your sincerity and authenticity. They're going to want to work with you. They're going to pay you their commissions. They're going to see the value in who you are and what you can do and bring to their lives. Game over, man. You got it. Do not underestimate, under any circumstances, the magnitude of knowing that when you are there to simply show your need, your desire, and your want to helping them, the game is over and they will feel the same. All right. Let's move on to this next point. Questions. So questions are the powerful antidote to taking all of the pressure off of you. Questions are the way in which people get themselves to think and to self-discover. So if you want to be great at presenting, what you really need to become great at, if we were to dig just one level below the canvas of presentation, it would be, how good are you at asking questions? Look, to effectively confront someone, in most cases, it's going to be asking a series of questions. To effectively turn the tide of a direction that you know is not the right one for a particular client, or maybe your best friend or your spouse or your partner, or your kids, it's just simply ask questions. Questions, right? Is what you're doing today going to get you what you want tomorrow? It's simple, right? It doesn't take much to recognize that if you want to change the course of someone and get them to truly self-discover the answers, it's in the power and in the process of asking questions. So how good are you at asking questions? See, there's a script and there's a dialogue that you can use, right? And I get that. I can say, do you have any plans on moving soon? Okay, that's a script. But if I really want to get into the depth and I really want to get into the knowledge of what's really moving them, I'm going to move into the help me understand a little more about that. Hey, share with me a little more about that. Gosh, help me understand. Man, I'm confused. Gosh, is there anything else? Tell me a little bit more. And I know many of you have heard these questions. We're not going to get into the depth of them. But to be a great presenter, you have to be a great person who asks questions with the desire to truly understand, not just to reply. To understand, not to just reply. So remember that as you move through your life and you move through your presentation and you move through the skill sets that are necessary, recognize that what really are scripts? Scripts are questions. Scripts are questions, right? It's that simple, right? Do you want to list higher? Come down later. Simple question. right? If you found the right home today, are you prepared to buy it? What would prevent us from working together? Right? These are just questions, 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 questions. But the power of those questions are the power to control the presentation. See, it's not the person who talks the most that controls the presentation. It's the person who's asking the questions that gets the control of the conversation or presentation. It's the power of questions. Don't underestimate the importance of this part, right? Because if you do, you will never be great at presenting. It just won't happen. They go hand in hand. You want to present at a high level, you got to ask questions at a high level. That's how the game works. That's the answers to the test. So let me just in the next 1 or 2 minutes here, just share with you as we're gosh, it's amazing how fast time can go. I sure hope that many of you will join me tomorrow. It's going to be a great event. You've gotten a number of emails on the deal. We're going to spend about 2.5 hours working on how to finish strong and how to start strong. We're going to be working on our presentation. We're going to be working on our business plan. We're going to be working on the right mindset. We've got a great panel. We're going to talk about how to get more buyer offers accepted, how to move through that. Just really what I consider to be some of the more important parts of the business. And we're going to spend a good solid 2.5 hours working on that together tomorrow. So please make sure that you sign up and get the link. It's in your email. If not, gosh, talk with Danette, call Lindsay Wardle, call Judy Forden. But man, make sure that you get involved or reach out to me personally. I'll get you the link. But I'd love to see you involved there. Let me give you this last point before we wrap up. I can remember some of my very first presentations as I gave a listing presentation. And I can remember what was the defining difference as to whether or not I was going to succeed or not. I can remember where I would go head to head against agents who were discounting their commissions. That's not a new concept, guys. It's not new today. It's not new 25 years ago. It's the same. Okay. Commissions are cut in every single state. Commissions are discounted in every single community. It's just the nature of the beast. And that's a way that you can win. You can try to outmaneuver someone by the cost of your services. But I've chosen that I don't want to compete on cost. What I have chosen to realize is I'm going to compete on the value. So whenever I'm presenting, what I'm really looking for, does my value come into alignment with what I'm charging? When the value of what you charge is in 100% alignment with the value to the commissions is in alignment, they pay. You can charge. You can get what you're worth. You can do what you need to do. The problem is that when we're presenting, we so often do not create the value. So we've got to get really clear on that. What brings people back to working with you, what gets them to sign contracts is they perceive, sense, and understand there's great value in working for you. So the question that I want you to ask yourself is that when you're presenting, what is the value that you bring to the table? Is it the MLS? Is it your sign in the yard? Is it you can show properties and say, here's the bathroom, here's the kitchen? I mean, is that really the value with the things I just mentioned and other little things that we could make light of? Is it those things? Do they have some value? Yeah, maybe a little, but not the most important value. I just want to remind you that the greatest value that you will bring to the table when it comes to in this real estate profession as a real estate agent, it will be your leadership. It is not what you can buy. It is not what you can go just pick up at a store. It's not just the newest technology. What is interesting to me is that people think that people sign up because of a technology or a special way video is done or where they're going to post something. That's not why they sign up, guys. That's not why they sign a contract with you. They sign a contract with you because they believe. Now, here's what's crazy about this. I remember so many years ago, I used to call up and listings I didn't take. Hey, I just wanted to ask a question. I know you chose the other agent to work with, but I'm just trying to improve every single day. What was it about that other person that made you decide to work with them over me or another agent? I can still remember the consistent answer was always this, and it still is today. Here's the answer. We just felt comfortable. We just felt comfortable. That was the answer. We just felt comfortable. What does that mean? Well, what it really means is this, that no matter what you speak to, no matter whether it's a technology, a service that you'll provide, an activity that you will do, the way in which you speak to those things is where they perceive the value. So the way you speak in regards to your certainty, your confidence, your belief in whatever it is, if you are certain, if you are confident, if you are believable, that's what they're going to believe is the right thing. And that's the really interesting thing that this all comes down to, is that it's all about the leadership that you offer and the certainty that you bring people. And that's just another way to say that people desire to feel safe. And they choose you, whether it's buying or selling a home, because they feel safer with you than they do with someone else. So look, don't buy into the fact that it is your fancy folder, your collateral material, the MLS, the technologies you use, the pictures you take, the photographer you use, the way in which it's not that. It's how you speak to those things. It's the confidence, the certainty, and the belief that you have of those things that then they begin to believe also. So you may use all those things. Those may be things that you do, but don't forget that it's the way in which you speak to those. It's the leadership you offer in regards to those things. That's the difference maker. It is you. And when we recognize that when we present, that it has so much to do with who we are, not what we're offering, who we are. That's the beauty of real estate, guys. Rates go up, rates go down. Markets go down, markets go up. Things change for the better. Sometimes they change for the worse. But the one common thread that never changes is that people will always buy and sell real estate. Always. Even in crashing markets, even in up markets, people are always buying or selling. Why? Because there will always be death. There will always be divorce. There will always be job transfers. There will always be first-time home buyers. There will always be a growing population of the new home buyers, and then the people who need to downsize. There will be people who have paid off their homes, and there will always be people investing in homes. It's just the nature of the beast. So knowing that, then the question is how good are you again at presenting? Are you solid in regards to your presence? Are you solid in regards to the questions you ask? Are you solid in regards to the value you bring? Are you solid in regards to your mindset and the certainty and the center that you find yourself as you step into a presentation or prospecting? And I'll end with this. Life is a series of presentations, gang. That's what it is. And the better that each of us can present, the better success our lives will have. Not to manipulate people, not to force them into our will of what we must have happen, but can we ask a series of questions with the energy and the spirit of how can I help? What could unfold for you? Get highly committed to presenting at a high level. Master your craft. Become exceptional in your ability to ask questions, to present, to show up with the right energy, the right presence, the desire to understand before you have this automatic to wanting to reply. If that can be your common thread when you present those things and more. And look, this is the stuff that makes the greats great. This is the stuff that can set you apart. This is the stuff that you'll never have to worry again about whether or not you're going to do business or not. You never have to worry about the market's going down or going up. You know, because the way in which you can present, that people will be attracted to working with you. You will draw people to you because of who you've become. Now, look, I want you to make a ton of money, and I want you to sell a ton of homes, and I want you to have extraordinary economic success. There is no question for that. I absolutely desire that for you. And you're going to accomplish extraordinary things in your life, but I hope that you will never lose sight that the most important thing that you will gain in the process of your achievements will not be the car, it will not be the home, it will not be the nice clothes, it will not be the vacations, it will not be the attainment of whatever it is that you desire. It will be who you had to become to get them. That is the difference maker. That is what will set you apart. And that is that when you're sitting on your porch one day or in your backyard overlooking your life, you'll be able to take a step back and go, you know what? It wasn't just what I acquired, it was who I became. And as you become more, you automatically will earn more. And if I could just have you hear that, and there's people who say, man, I've heard all that before. Yep, you've heard it. You've heard it. But the question is, are you doing it? Have you really made a commitment to yourself of who you will become and recognizing that with patience, all the other things you desire, the wealth, the abundance, the homes, the cars, the money in the bank, the bills paid, all the things you want to do, the people you want to help, the lives you want to impact, all will happen as you make a decision to truly mastering this business and mastering yourself, to becoming more. That is the ultimate. That is the ultimate reward. And if you're like me, who has a deep belief that there's an eternal perspective of this, guys, you're taking that with you, because you're not taking the car with you and you're not taking your house with you. And I've heard this before, and you probably have heard it, but there's not a Ryder truck or a U-Haul truck behind your hearse. You're not taking any of it with you. So remember, and even if you didn't believe in an afterlife, I can tell you this much: who you become will be the legacy that you live by, and the legacy that is or live by, and the others will be following because of who you showed up as during your life. That's the beauty of a legacy. So you got two things: an extraordinary legacy ahead, and you got an extraordinary life ahead. So don't underestimate the magnitude of becoming more. It is your stewardship. It is a requirement of humanity, and it is a requirement. If you truly want happiness, it is always and always will be about who you become in the process. Become more, you earn more. And in the end, the ultimate reward is who you become. All right, with that, I'll leave you. Have an extraordinary week. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that it's been beneficial. I hope it's had an impact. It's always a great reminder for me that I can't lose sight of who I have to become to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. And I hope that's the same for you. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk soon. Grateful for you. Know how much I love you. And just know that you've had a profound impact in my life, and I'll forever be grateful as we move through the years to come. All right, guys, talk to you soon.